Hey guys, BBI here. I want to stop and say thanks for tuning in and checking out whatever the video is about that's about ready to come up next. If you could take a minute and hit subscribe, I'd greatly appreciate it. And if you enjoy what you've seen here, make sure to hit the like button. We'd greatly appreciate your support. Anyhow guys, all that aside, let's get on with the show. So what we got here is an m3v, and it has been ridden hard and put away incredibly wet. As you can see, the drive circuitry in here is exploded, and that's our low, medium, and high resistor. So when the knob's all the way in that position, it's in high, that resistor is fried. So we're going to bypass this part of the circuit. This guy would like a somewhat more of a high drive 4 transistor unit. So obviously it's been overdriven, and obviously it's gotten so hot that the output circuitry has exploded. So first things first is we got to clean it up. Now we're going to do the power wire upgrade to this, and we're going to do all that other kind of thing to it too. So just want to show the reference point from which we're starting, and we're going to put some bigger transistors in this thing. We're going to see if we can pump them up a little bit. On that note, we shall return. Man. So here we are, day number 2. So I come out last night at about 6:30, and I thought I'd finish this little messenger up pretty quick. And I made this error in my day, in my universe. I turned on my radio. For you guys that follow me on Facebook, that led to a 6-hour talk fest yesterday on the radio. Never got back over here to this messenger. So got up this morning about 9, ran around, did some errands, had to go pick up some wire because I actually worked on this thing last night at about 1 o'clock in the morning, and I realized I was out of wire. So here's where we ended up. By the way, this box is just now screaming. I replaced all your power leads, and I reused your 50 amp Anderson clip. You might want to think about going to 150 amp because you're pulling more. If you drive this thing properly, you're going to pull more amperage than that Anderson clip can pass. So we got rid of the, what was in there? Let's go over here to the bone pile. The 455s that were in there, because 3 out of the 4 of them were cooked off. Cleaned all the burnt mess up, replaced the burnt combiner, built you a whole new combiner circuit on the back side of this thing. Bypassed the low, medium, and high. Changed a couple turns in the transformers, added some capacitance to the output transformers, removed some capacitance from the input transformers, changed some coaxes in here. Then I went through and I replaced all the output coax. This little shit is just garbage. It caught on fire. Smoke. There's smoke come out of that coax. So I replaced it with RG400, which is a mil-spec aircraft grade coax, which is based on Teflon, so that's never going to get that hot again. So then I did all the small details, like I washed it, cleaned it up, checked everything, double checked everything, triple checked everything, and then I mounted a 120 millimeter fan. Now, we see that the fan isn't square, and that's not because I'm being lazy, it's because the way the fins space out. See, I'm not a big fan of drilling holes into the heatsink. Just not. So I take drywall anchors and I slide them in here, and when you put a screw in them, they expand, they grab the edge of the heatsink, and it's on there. Now listen, this amp is designed to sit this way, not this way, so let's not be stupid. And the reason I got to mention that is because you already had a fan on there, but it was all the way in the very back. Well, your heat generation is right here. So I put the fan right over the top of the heat generation source, and I went with a big enough fan that it could move enough air to actually do the job. I spent probably 25-30 minutes just cleaning dirt out of this heatsink. So I don't know what environment this thing's been in, but it's been in a dirty one. Okay, Now we're going to drive this two ways today. We're going to run it with the 2950, doing about 20 watts into it, and then we're going to hit it with a striker. This is an M3v. It was designed to do 300 peak watts, period. That's it. Now, in your note that you wrote me, which was beautiful, by the way, you told me that you're incredibly long-winded. But in the same sentence, he literally said, sometimes I like to play music and I'm incredibly long-winded, but I want to get the most power out of it I possibly can get. That's a contradiction. If you push the box hard, it's going to get incredibly hot, and you're going to quickly exhaust this thing's ability to be able to get the heat off of itself. Remember, all your components in here don't have any airflow across them. They're inside of a sealed tin. Now, I've punched holes inside of messengers. I've done all kinds of stuff to try and get air across them. It helps a little bit. Does it make that big of a difference? No. Look, guys, these things don't have laminar air cooling. It's like they don't have air that's forced in, then it goes across the heatsink. There's not a full wrap of air enclosure all around the components. So my suggestion to you is I set this thing up to do as many watts as it possibly can. My suggestion to you is take it easy on this amp. Be nice to it, and it'll last you a long time. But if you're incredibly long-winded and you decide you're going to play music on it, I don't want to hear anything like, oh, well, you know, I keyed it up 3 times and it burned up. Yeah, 3-4 hour key downs. I made this thing as bulletproof as I could. I really did. With the power wire and all the other circuitry that's been modified on this thing, it's set. Now, it's still fully biased for sideband, which is going to make it run just a little bit hotter and is going to make it pull a little bit more amperage. But I'm going to leave that be because the box is a little bit cleaner that way. So, let's see here. We're on 14 volts. Now, that's a 1,000 watt slug-in PEP, 1,000 watt slug-in average, 5 watt slug-in reverse back from the rear, 10,000 watt dummy load. Okay. 2950, 5 watt slug between 2950 and, of course, the messenger. There's our 20 watts going through it. Here's our pass-through tune. Nice and low. Now, we're going to turn it over. Remember, low, medium, and high no longer does anything per your request. You wanted that bypassed. So the only thing that controls the amount of dead key this thing gets is the radio. Guys, I just did a repair for a gentleman. He gets the amp back. It's a 2x4, and he put a 7 watt dead key into that radio, into that amp. 7 watts into a 2x4. And he goes, well, it was keying like 700 watts. And it ran for half the day and then it quit. So he's dead keying out of a 2x4, 700 watts, and then modulating like another 50 into it. I was like, man, dude, if you got burned up pills, I can't help you. Look, all these amps are designed, not this one, this is a high drive amp. It's designed to have like a couple watts put in it, but like a 2x4 is designed to have 1 or 2 watts worth of carrier put into it, at the most 2 watts. So you need to get with your technician and make sure your radio's dialed down that low. Now what we're going to put into this thing is about a watt dead key, and I want you to see something. The moral of the story is, before I jump off topic, is you can't key the radio so high that you burn the box up and then expect the builder to feel bad about it, because I'm not gonna. We gotta all have a little bit of knowledge when it comes to dealing with this stuff. Primarily on the workbench, I'm about 1 or 2 watts at the most, unless otherwise stated. So, I'll show you something. 1 watt. 5 watt slug forward. 1 watt. So take it easy on the equipment, and it'll last you forever. Okay. 1 watt and gets you 10 watts out dead carrier. Wow. 450 peak watts, right? Here's your input tune. Wow. Nice and low. Average power. About 180 bird. 425 watts, right? So I put the camera down here. Flip this thing back over so we can have access to the coax connectors. Alright. Once again, turn that 5-watt slug around. To my coax end on my striker finally decide it's going to shit the bed right in the middle of a video. Look at that white of it. There it is. The coax end has gone bad on the radio coax here. I'll have to change that after the video is done. Okay, look. 1 1/4 watts. Turn the amp back on. I'm murdering that 5-watt slug. That's a crime. Hello. Hello. About 220 bird and well over 700 watts peak. So run the Denki up a little bit more. Hello. 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 This is where this thing's designed to run. And run. And run. Now what I want to show you is this is a 50 amp Anderson clip, right? So you're nearly pulling almost double. Double what this thing is designed to have pass through it. So you just might want to keep that in mind when you get it back. I strongly suggest that you go to a 125 amp Anderson clip. You'll actually get better performance out of the amplifier that way. You won't be restraining the voltage and the amperes that much. Yeah, this thing's gonna work perfect for you. Well, Brother T, you're all done. I'm gonna put the tin on this thing. We're gonna put it in a flat rate box. We're gonna send it home to you. Appreciate your patience. This thing is running top tit shelf. Gentlemen, my name is BBI. Without a shadow of a doubt, I am the biggest mud duck in Idaho. Man, yesterday was fun. And all you guys I got to talk to, I had a blast. I'm glad everybody was able to make it up in my radio. And to sit down and be able to talk for 6 hours nonstop. My only regret from yesterday is I know my power bill is going to be probably $500-700 somewhere in there. But it was so worth it. Guys, I got to go on to the next one. I appreciate y'all tuning in. Bump bump from the biggest clown in Idaho. Biggest duck. I'll see you. Bye-bye.